Quayle has a lot of military and police sources, but what he's about to tell you is already confirmed. Maryland and California papers reported regular Army was spying on the Tea Parties all over the country. The FBI was out there putting people in databases. They're even announcing this on the news to create a chilling effect so you think you're not allowed to protest or demonstrate. It doesn't matter. Get past the fear. We're the majority. If they get us to cower and act all, that's when the Berlin Wall finally fell and folks just didn't care anymore. We can do this, but this is a cowing, a psyop, calling the troops terrorist. Canada Free Press is reporting FBI spied on Tea Party Americans. We've posted reports as well about the Army doing this up on prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com. We're going to get into that and so much more for the next hour. Then Gerald Celente joins us. Steve Quayle from stevequayle.com. We'll get his website up on screen as well. We're simulcasting at prisonplanet.tv. Steve Quayle, it was a powerful show we did last Thursday on your show. Thanks for having me. It's good to have you here.
Well, Alex, I think the synergy that was present in the show that you did with me was the one that had to get as much information the shortest amount of time out. Because, again, what you have done and what I'm trying to do, and together we're doing it, is giving different sources and combining our sources and our intel gathering abilities and presenting, I'd say, the most realistic picture to the people that they could ever hope for. And if they listen to mainstream news, Alex, I'm telling them they're already mind-controlled, dead as zombies. Because the mainstream news is nothing more than the mouthpiece of the Illuminati. And let me go to immediately the story of the FBI spying on the Tea Party Americans. What most people don't understand is that there's compartmentalized intelligence within all of the areas of the military and all of the national security agencies and their offshoots, and even to some extent, obviously, the FBI has compartmentalized or special compartmentalized intelligence. What happened is a directive went out to the 56 special agents in charge across the country to basically film and to put into the database in Washington, and we'll talk about the restricted access to that database in a moment, but everybody is basically being targeted. In other words, the Obama administration is going to quell all First Amendment rights. I've been told by my sources deep inside that the entire if you will, patriot movement is to be categorized, it's to be cataloged, and we've known this, Alex. We've told people this, but they don't believe us. Now it's basically mainstream news.
And police should know they've been categorized. They don't just say troops. In the more internal documents that I've talked to sources and been even allowed to see, but they're so classified, we can't even bring them out here because that's the agreement with sources. They're classifying police. I mean, don't just think for a minute they're saying number one threat is veterans and gun owners and leaving cops out that aren't going to play along with this. When the Soviet takeover, Nazi takeover happens, they always have purges of the military and police. Go ahead.
Absolutely, and I want to make it clear, the police and all corresponding people that go along with the purges of the people that were listed by Janet Napolitano are absolutely, they're the blue list. They get taken out. That means liquidated, exterminated within 30 to 60 days after helping the powers that be, the New World Order people, to go after us. Now, let me read something because this is important, Alex. This is really critical, okay? The information that was collected by the special agents in charge was submitted to Washington. We're at the level of the National Security Branch. This information was to include the Office of the Director of Intelligence, the DI, and integrated with a restricted access database, one of the reportedly is accessible by only 2 agencies of the 14 agencies that comprise U.S. intelligence community, according to the source. Over the years, when I have talked about the red and blue list, people always say, well, I want a copy of the list. Well, it's probably some of the most controlled information or data out there. It even goes on to say that not all special agents in charge, they weren't to inform everybody within their department. So this was a national security directed intel gathering event to put into the database to basically come after everybody.
SteveQuayle.com, Infowars.com. Steve, stay there. We'll be right back. They're attempting to have a putsch, a takeover of the United States. Then they will kill at least half the country. Will they get away with it?
The GCN Radio Network, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN. Great talk radio starts here.
Okay, some stations don't carry that first 5 minutes. Steve Quayle, recap who you are, what you do for... I've got a lot of new affiliates lately. Some folks may not know who you are. Just like a lot of folks don't know who I am when I'm on your show. Tell folks a little bit about yourself, the intel you've got. It integrates 100%. Everything you were saying when I was on your show last Thursday was clicking and making connections, and we've got all the pieces of the puzzle. We know it's classic tyranny, but the most virulent form ever, and we know it's a fast-growing viral infection of tyranny. We know this is the virulent signature or wavelength or type. I mean, no doubt, this is, folks, when I get up here, and I tell you, they're going to set up a Bank of the World with, world carbon taxes on everything you do and ban fireplaces. It's already happening in many states. I mean, all I'm doing is reading their documents. You have to understand, these are the people that funded Stalin, Hitler, Mao, Pol Pot. They are vicious, okay? And we have always been who they want to take down, and they want to do a Ukrainian-type takedown of this nation. Steve Quayle, you've got the floor. And you've got the floor. I'm going to just sit back. Go.
Well, the idea is that you nailed it so correctly, Alex. This is a slaughter in the preparation mode, okay? And we've got to basically make as many duplicates, copies of your videos and get them out to everybody. But here's the thing I think that people need to understand. While there is yet a whisper of time to make a difference, you've got to seriously write your senators, congresswomen, scream at the top of your lungs, write editorials, get on talk shows, and demand Janet Napolitano's resignation. Now, here's why I say that. When these guys, and they test, they always take, it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps backward, but they still end up a step ahead at the end of the day. The idea that all returning vets would be painted with terrorist brush, and Alex, we need to cover this. The reason the definition of terrorism is being broadened is so that under the terrorism rule, you'll be denied due process. And all those issues that you've talked about before on your shows, this is where we're headed, ladies and gentlemen. And it's everybody but them, Alex. And that's what I think is the missing link in our conversations with all the listening audience and all the audience that's viewing your Tate's videos, listening to you and I around the world. And by the way, the rest of the world sees what's going on in retrospect. I'm getting half a dozen emails a day from people all around the world that listen to you, listen to I, that people put us up on YouTube. You're up on YouTube. I'm up on YouTube. But the deal is that people have got to understand this is when you've drawn the attention of the world's population to the occult nature of the Illuminati and the Bohemian Grove and everything. I don't think people understand. Once the blood begins to flow, it does not stop. And I can tell you, I've talked to the highest-ranking military officials that there are, way beyond what most people even know exists. I've talked to people from NORTHCOM. I've talked to different individuals, and all the thing they're saying, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. I talked to one of the world's lead surveillance providers of equipment to the government, and he said a retired Navy SEAL friend of his said, get all the guns you can. I'm just telling you what I'm being told. Get all the food you can, because very soon the economy is going to be brought to a screeching halt. So all this yippee-skippy feel-good talk that's out there coming, well, things have turned around. Oh, really? What's changed? What has changed so dramatically that things have turned around? The idea, Alex, at the bio event or a nuclear event, very soon, now here's the thing that people have got to realize, that list that was posted, especially, but that you went into great detail with, that we talked about together, you talked about separately, is absolutely the hit piece for vilifying a group of people who will be blamed for what is going to be initiated in this country. And because the events are going to be so horrific and so awesome, when I say awesome, not in a good sense, but just so overwhelmingly wicked and evil, people will do anything. They'll clamor. They'll scamper. They'll absolutely run in total amazement at the level of devastation. Because, again, when you and I have detailed the globalist plan to take the population of the world down from 6 billion to 500 million, they're serious about that. And I want to share something else. The idea that we're being told anything close to the truth, you've got to get through your minds, ladies and gentlemen, that there is no truth coming out of mainstream news. Did you see Anderson Cooper, mocking in his gay overtones the entire tea bag movement? That's not what it's called, but that means something.
They're
special.
now saying anyone on MSNBC on show after show, it's a talking point, who protests the banks hates black people. So they're trying to stir up race war. They're creating division, and that's their talking point. You're a neo-Nazi. if you don't like the bankers or you're a right-wing extremist when it's the majority. 98% of people in polls are against the bankers. They're making their move. And, Steve, as you know, they have now called for what we knew they were going to do and predicted they would do on record. They're going to make it public stock. The money the federal government put in the banks is going to be public stock. That means it's being stolen completely.
Absolutely, and this is the thing that people don't understand. Money always is transferred from weak hands to strong hands. And the powerhouse now, and I said this 10 years ago, Alex, I said China will be built up, the Chinese economy will become the greatest economy in the world at the expense of the American economy. Our technology, our entire banking system will shift to the east, and obviously that's what Jimmy Rogers has been saying for years too. But the thing that people don't understand is this is a blueprinted destruction of the American way of life.